Time for Task and Twos.
Hey, Ticats fans, welcome back to the Task and Twos show. We are well into the CFL season. At this point, we're coming off of a huge win for the Ticats after their game in Montreal, and we're prepping for the Labor Day Classic. I'm Luke Tasker, joined every week here by Andy Fantuz, one of my favorite teammates of all time. Andy, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Lucas. Good, bud. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Still down in Myrtle Beach here on a family trip. Gonna hit the road back up north this morning. Although there's this hurricane is coming up the coast, so I don't know how might get our drive interrupted. But vacation's been great. We ready to get back up there and get ready for Labor Day game. What's going on with you?
Well, be safe.
Yeah.
Just getting ready myself. Gotta get the long weekend before the game, so always a little extra prep for the Labor Day game, and you know, lots of other things going on with kids going back to school and that and this and that. But you know, let's talk some football.
It's awesome, man. So first of all, the first win of the season last week. I was back in the booth with RJ. You were next door to me doing the pregame, halftime, and postgame on the Ticats audio network, and that was a fun one to talk about, fun one to watch. And I can't help but just be proud of the Ticats for the performance that they did. I always felt like Montreal was not an easy place to win. And every player has their own, their personal, take on every stadium, because it so depends on the games you've played there. I mean, I can see you scoring touchdowns in Montreal in the games that we played, but for some reason, I don't know, I never felt totally comfortable there. Not that I had bad games, but I just felt like it was a hard stadium to win. I don't know if you had a similar thought of Montreal.
It is a hard stadium to win, and we haven't had a ton of success throughout our career there. But I remember you making one of the best catches I've ever seen in my life. You know which one I'm talking about? Like up the
I do, yeah.
Close hash right next to our bench. You sort of
that's right. Jeff Matthews
watched it come over and then all the way to the side, right on the ground.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
That did happen. That's true. And I remember, actually, it might have been that game, actually, that we broke. The Ticats hadn't won there in some ridiculous number of years, since before my time, before your time as a Ticat. But I can't remember if it was that year, which I want to say was 2015, maybe. But I'm not. I'm 14, 15. But that had been our first win in Montreal for a long time. We had a little more success after that in our time together, but still, just a tough place to play. And the Ticats went in there, and I mean, that was a pretty resounding win. I mean, it was 10-13, I think, at one point in the second quarter. But really, the Ticats won on three phases of the ball that night. I think particularly, obviously, most people are recognizing Frankie Williams had a pretty outstanding game, both with a key turnover at the end from his defensive back position, but the returns were unbelievable, man. Remember how different is it when we take the field and you're playing on a 50-yard surface, I mean, it was huge.
Yeah. I was listening to you call the game, and you're right. Jeff always wanted to give it at least once or twice per game and to start the game off on the Montreal side of the field. Just what a big advantage. And then he had that massive punt return in the first half. And couple of things that stood out to me in that game were, besides Frankie Williams, there were a few other unsung heroes that really impressed me. Like Eddie Wilson II, he just like two tackles for loss in the backfield and 6 tackles for a D tackle, like incredible.
Yeah.
Keontae Evans, massive pass deflections at key times in the game. And then Dunbar Jr. coming up on the scene early in the game and having that big first quarter and first half. But as a team, something that really impressed me was shutting them out completely in the second half. Like, that was really nice to see, and finishing the game by driving down the field and running the ball up the throat and then scoring and then finishing it off with a touchdown for STE. That to me is like that's the kind of way we want to win a football game, right? We don't want to like punt the ball back to them and hope the defense can hold them. We want to snuff it out.
It was awesome 3-minute football at the end of the game. And on the flip side of that, the Ticats hadn't yet scored a point in the second half of a football game yet in the first two again in Winnipeg and Sask. So not only they shut out Montreal, they got two scores in late in the game, and that 3-minute drive was fantastic. And of course, Sean Thomas Erlington, I'm so happy for him because it's his home stadium and he hurdles the guy and then gets the touchdown to cap it off. That was fantastic. I also think Dane did a good job. He handled the game well. I think one of the areas that they're going to have to continue to improve is pass protection. There were still times where the whole thing was rushed. There were sacks. There were tackles for loss. But Dane protected the ball, had a couple of very meaningful completions as the game progressed. And it wasn't an outstanding passing offensive production. I mean, I think it was 183 yards. But the key stat is 0 turnovers. I mean, they protected the ball. And the turnover that impacted the game was Frankie Williams' interception. Who knows if one other turnover goes the wrong way for the Ticats, that's how costly that a turnover can be. It could have changed everything depending on the timing and field position, of course, and all that. So still something to be worked on there. I think one of the things that has been disappointing so far this season for the Ticats has been the field goal operation. The two of us both have experience holding. We were both part of that operation throughout our career, and it's finicky. Kickers. There's a big comfort level with the operation and with the ebbs and flows of the game and with their own performance. As the season progresses and confidence grows, it gets easier. But there was one Dane unfortunately muffed a snap for one of the operations. There was another miss. Just that operation needs to continue to grow and build as the season progresses. But all in all, that was a complimentary football win, for the Ticats.
What did you think about holding? I remember I didn't mind it either, but I remember my wife always saying, I hate when you hold, I hate when you do that because I feel like there's just so much pressure and no it's not credit that you're looking for, but there's only one thing that can, if you're noticed on that team, it's not a good thing. And before your time, it was we were out in Calgary with a chance to make the playoffs, and I couldn't believe it, but I remember going up. We broke the huddle, and I had Luka Kanji as a kicker.
Yeah,
snowing. The ground was covered in snow. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners will remember this because it was one of my least favorite moments in Ticat history. But we break the huddle, and I go and I clear, the plant foot from the snow, the area for the plant foot. But I cleared it on the wrong side of the tee, for one. So it was just a kick that was just going to win or lose the game, and. And I'm like, oh crap! And then we didn't call a timeout. And then because we couldn't really go any further back because it was already a 40-yarder in the snow.
Right.
And then sure enough, I took the snap, put it down just like I always do, and it just hit the tee and slid right down off the tee. And if I was to go back and go through that process, other than the fact that I cleaned the wrong area, I would have done everything the exact same. I was focused. I took a deep breath. I did my whole routine, put it down, and it just slipped right down. And then I had to pick it up. And anyway, we got sacked and lost the game and didn't make the playoffs from that field goal, from the holder's mistake, basically. And then I remember talking to Drew Strostein after, and he's like, we gotta find a way to keep these things from icing up during the game and maybe putting some kind of adhesive on them or whatever. And it was wild. It sucked.
That's
really
brutal.
bad. Yeah.
So you probably don't remember, but you told me that story after a very similar experience of mine. So when I was holding for Justin Medlock, we were in Calgary also. And by the way, I never won a game in Calgary. I don't actually, I'm trying to think if this is accurate. I don't think the Ticats have beat the Stampeders for it's at least since 2013. Anyways, not to digress here. We were at the end of the game, we were down by 3 with a 35-yard field goal to tie the game and go into overtime. And I Justin Medlock didn't use a block, but I put the ball down, and literally what you're saying, the nose or the bottom of the football just slipped off the turf. It just like, and Justin Medlock came up and stuttered and didn't kick it. I started running around. I literally got tackled so hard on that play that my face mask bent in. Like Drew had to unscrew it off my helmet because like it bent the helmet open, and that's what I deserved. And we lost the game. We had a chance to go into overtime there, and I remember you sharing that story with me. It's a thankless position, and this one didn't hurt Dane as when he seemingly muffed that. And sometimes you can't tell from our stance. Who knows what should have happened? But it looked like it was a misheld ball. But it is a thankless job. Justin Medlock was the most difficult kicker for me as a holder. He was a very particular kicker, but he also trained me and taught me really, really well what you're actually supposed to hold a kick.
Thankless or not, though, like it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun to train for it and practice and be part of that group and have that extra responsibility. And that as you and I, like, you'd want to have your guys who you think are the most capable doing the job. And I was happy 100%. To pass the torch to you. Yeah.
100%. It is kind of cool to be a part of that specialty group. In the 2019 Grey Cup, I caught a little shovel pass from Liram Hairelahu for the to be a part, and you can kind of be a part of these special little things. It was a cool responsibility to have, and it's just another way to be great at something, which is just fun to practice and to have that skill set. We'll see. Yeah. Hopefully that can increase as the Ticats go along. Maybe we need to give them some inspiring stories from Task and Twos as to how special the job is to be the holder. Okay. We're moving into Labor Day here. What a fantastic moment in the CFL season every year. It comes very early this year, obviously, because of the COVID late start to the season. But last week in the Task and Two show, you and I talked about one of the stories was that the Argos have this extra bye week all of a sudden. They had a COVID game canceled or to be postponed with Edmonton. We, as the Ticats, played a late game. They have an extended week this week. It almost feels like a bye week. I always love those weeks during the season where it's not one of your bye weeks. Like you still have all your bye weeks, to be used at their times, but you get this strange 10, 11-day week into, mixed into the season. It's just as valuable. And in this case, Ticats get to come off of a divisional win in Montreal. I honestly think that they have the advantage schedule-wise over the Argonauts.
Yeah, I do too. And
awesome.
Of course, coming home to Tim Hortons Field, big advantage just with the fans and the excitement around the stadium. So, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, a little too early. I mean, you might get some guys healed up a little bit from injuries with that extra time off. But the Ticats coming off a big win like that, I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing how they come out. But the Argonauts also are coming off a big win, beating Winnipeg at home convincingly. Another, both 3 sides of the ball kind of win for them. So it's going to be a good matchup. Tough team.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is for first place. If the Ticats win this, they go to 2-2. The Argonauts would have their 2 victories, and of course the Ticats would have the win directly over the Argonauts. I mean, it's incredible that a week ago we're talking about the Ticats climbing out of what is last place in the CFL to potentially have a chance to be first in the division. That is so CFL. That's just the most beautiful thing about the CFL, and it makes the season. There's never a dull moment because everything can change by a few losses around the league. Just an awesome chance. The Ticats, I don't think have lost. I know that I never lost the Labor Day Classic. I think maybe it was 2012, 2011, prior to Tim Hortons Field. Different era of Ticats football. This would be an awesome chance to be back in the stadium with fans. It's been close to 2 years since Tim Hortons Field has hosted a crowd. Very, very excited to be in the booth and to call that game.
We were joined by Louis and I were joined by Bakari Grant there after the game on Friday night.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure you can remember the first touchdown in Tim Hortons Field which
Yeah.
was a Labor Day game in the
I
gray
can see it like
shirts.
this.
Yeah, I know we both talked about that. So I think this game is going to be like have a little bit of the same kind of vibe because of the year and a half off. Not quite the same as a brand new stadium, but you know, still
100%.
same kind of idea.
And at that time there wasn't a winning streak. I guess that would have been the first or second Labor Day win, in a row there. Now there's been a number of wins strung together, but I'll never forget Bakari standing in the end zone. We had the gray like specialty Labor Day uniforms on that the CFL did that year. The Reebok, gray uniforms. What an awesome day at Tim Hortons Field that was. I agree. I think this will be a very memorable Labor Day classic, especially if the Ticats get a win. All right, let's see here.
Yeah, that was the first game we got to learn how like the Michael Young picture there coming out of the locker room and doing it for Bob's brother.
Yeah, that's right.
That's special.
That's
anyway,
cool.
We could go on forever with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, very good. Ticats get a long week. Their first day back on the field, I guess, is today. So, I mean, good for them. I like Coach O's mentality on that. Allowing the guys to get even more rest. Came from a bye week to Montreal with a great win, and I got to think physically. This is these two long weeks together on either side of the Montreal game are going to be great physically moving forward for a lot of the guys through the season. But excited to get back out there. Monday afternoon will be the Labor Day Classic. Andy and Louis B will have the pregame starting an hour before kickoff, and RJ Broadhead and myself will have the call during the game. Andy, looking forward to it, man. Can't wait to see you there. Go Ticats. We'll be out there ready to take care of business again.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your family trip, and can't wait. It's going to be great. We're going to have some great guests too. I know that. I know we got a few surprises up our sleeves, so looking
nice.
Ticat Audio Network. Tune in.